So today we have Keith Metcalfe. He's the CEO of Traction Guest. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thanks, Lee. I appreciate you having me on. I'm a technologist by heart. I've spent 20 years in enterprise software. I don't really know a whole lot more other than enterprise software, and really do enjoy the space. The reason it's interesting is, an enterprise is a word we use for companies in this area where they have a lot of locations with a lot of different requirements, and they still need a standard. And from a technology standpoint, that's pretty hard to do. Yeah, and when we say enterprise, for us, what that generally means is a lot of the organizations we're working with have requirements, either auditory, so they have to audit bodies that they're dealing with, or they themselves have rules and regulations that are in place for a lot of different reasons. And those include things like having approvals before somebody comes on site. They include things like making sure that people understand when they get to the facility what it is they're supposed to do when they're there, or what they're required to do, as well as getting into things like watch lists and having them scanned against different sources to make sure that they're appropriate attendees.
Can you talk a little bit about what is LowCode, and then what you all did to bring that to an enterprise solution?
The high level is when we started, we realized that a lot of the larger organizations and even some mid-sized organizations had a lot of sites. And when you talk to the sites, they all had very specific requirements. From an application standpoint, that's really hard to address without giving custom applications by site. So then the next piece goes, well, why don't we give them a platform to develop something per site, all rolling up to one platform for reporting reasons and whatnot. The challenge to that is that a lot of people in the roles for organizations who are responsible for getting people safely in and out don't have development resources. And we created an environment where they could actually do that themselves via logical flow or conversation. So I could talk to somebody in another part of the world and say, hey, what would you like to have happen in your lobby in different languages, different signatures, videos, activation of different devices, dealing with badges of different ACMs and things like that. And we created a platform where people can create those and then share the work they've done in a library with other people who aren't developers, but also believe that the visit experience needs to be unique for different reasons by site.
As somebody who's come into the industry from outside of it, right, and you've seen visitor management now, and you're starting to get more involved into the access control side and security, what's an observation that you see that I would say two parts? Number one, that you see is promising, and then number two, what you would like to see a little bit different.
Yeah, I think we've seen some real innovators coming along as well in the industry. I think when you look at access control, our observation is that from a technology standpoint, they have challenges there, right? There's like repeatability and scalability and security that are challenges that if you don't appropriately take them on from a technology standpoint, they create great risk, right? So I think from a lot of the vendors who have been doing it for a long time, they've focused on those things, and rightly so. I think what's interesting and sort of coming more so is that those vendors themselves, as well as other vendors that we've worked with, are starting to say, hey, I think we can actually take that infrastructure and wrap it together with what people want from maybe more newer tech that's available.
Is there anything that you need or you would like to see?
Yeah, I think for us, we would love to sort of really challenge the notion that you have to have one application that's the same around the world, or even just multiple sites. And we like to remind people that this is very visible technology. This is technology that touches every person that comes in and out of a facility. And hopefully they're remembered every time they come back, and it's easier. And that just enforces security protocols. That's what we'd like people to understand. I don't think it's just a feature anymore. I think it's a requirement, and that's what we're seeing across a number of companies, is that they're believing that having safe, secure sites that are efficient is worth spending some money on and spending some time on.
If everyone wanted to get a hold of you, what's the best way to do so?
TractionGuest.com. Go there, and there's a number of different mechanisms to get a hold of us. You can contact us in our office in Europe, in Seattle, Vancouver as well, and there's contact means for all of those in there.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you, Keith, and I appreciate you giving us a little bit of insight into Traction Guest. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Lee. Appreciate it.